I see live recording on my
You do?
screen.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah,
I see it too, Sharon.
Okay, it's just connecting. I just wait for it to connect. Okay. Okay, so you are good to go. I am-
Still muted.
Oh, Bob, unmute yourself, Bob.
Sorry
Gotcha.
about that.
That's okay. You're good.
Worried
Okay.
about Getting ready to go check the bar dishes.
Okay, you guys are good. I'm going to mute myself and go off video. Jen, just let me know when you want to share and I'll share.
Okay, are we good to go?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
You're good to go. You're good to go.
Go ahead.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome to the September 2, 2020 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. We'll open with a roll call. Mr. Urice,
Here,
Ms. Hostetter,
Here,
Mr. Kiokio,
Here.
Mr. Sylvain,
Here.
Mr. Renz is absent, Mr. Haas is absent, and Arnold Finaldi is here. So we do not need to seat any alternates for tonight's meeting. I will give my usual I'll give an abbreviated version of the introduction with regard to the virtual Zoom meetings. We've done this many times and it seems to have worked out pretty good so far. But just for the record, this meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission is being held on Zoom as a virtual meeting. Even though this meeting is a virtual meeting, members of the public and interested parties continue to have the opportunity to participate in the meeting in a couple of different ways. You can participate via Zoom and see the audio and the video, or you can call in by phone and participate via audio only. Just a heads up, if you call in, we may have to mute and unmute your phone to avoid an echo. Instructions on how to participate in the meeting appear on the City of Danbury website. And all of the documents and materials that apply to the matters to be discussed during this meeting, including the agenda, are also available on the City of Danbury website. I won't bother to go through how to navigate through the website. Hopefully people can figure that out. It's pretty much self-explanatory. As I mentioned, a copy of the agenda for the meeting is posted on the website. We will follow the agenda as per our standard practice. If prior to the meeting, any questions or comments on agenda items were submitted via email to Sharon Calitro, those comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. We have no public hearings this evening, so we don't have to go through that. And finally, in all cases, please only speak when called upon and please be patient and respectful of others. All votes will be conducted by a roll call vote. And finally, remember that this technology is still new to us and glitches sometimes occur. Please be patient if that happens. Thank you. Commission members, the minutes of the August 19th meeting were previously distributed. I believe they were. Unless there's any corrections or comments, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
so moved, Helen.
Seconded by Bob.
Okay, motion to accept by Helen, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. All in favor, say yes. All not in favor, say no.
that's not a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman.
What do you mean?
You said all in favor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Very good, Joel. Very good. Okay. A yes vote means you accept the minutes and a no vote means you don't accept the minutes. How's that, Joel? A little better?
That's much better.
I'm new at this. Okay. Here we go. Mr. Urice,
Yes,
Ms. Hofstetter,
Yes,
Mr. Kiokio,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain.
Yes.
The Chairman Finaldi votes yes. The minutes are accepted. Thank you very much. As I mentioned, we have no new public hearings this evening, and the one item that showed up on our continuation agenda has been postponed to our next meeting, which is September 16th, 2020. That is the matter of Nijane Plaza LLC. So we don't have any new public hearings and nothing under our continuation agenda. We do have a couple of matters under our old business for discussion and possible action agenda. I'll go to item 1. City of Danbury and the Women's Center of Greater Danbury, Inc. Application for special exception site plan approval to permit transitional housing facility in the RH3 zone, 89 Rose Hill Avenue, parcel 1 H13166, special exception number 777. Again, all of the information pertaining to this matter appears on the city website, including a draft resolution of approval with conditions dated 8/31/20, which was again previously distributed. Jennifer.
Mr. Chairman, Sharon, can you share my screen?
Yeah, you should be all set.
Okay. Let's do, hold on. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, so you have a draft resolution dated August 31st for the Women's Center of Greater Danbury for the transitional housing facility. All the standard whereases are in place that describe the application, the process. As a reminder, this is in the floodplain. It's in a numbered AE zone. They do have EIC approval. Moving down to page 3, again, standard conditions. Page 4, we have prior to the issuance of any permits, you'll see number 5, 6, and 7 are pretty standard. They have to file the grant. They have to obtain the floodplain permit, which I'll bring to the commission for the next meeting. And then we still have one outstanding comment from the engineering department that has to do with the needed fire flow, and that was actually submitted to the engineering department this afternoon. So I expect that to be resolved within the next couple days. Number 8, so this is a little long, but it encompasses quite a few things. And this is prior to the issuance of a certificate of zoning compliance. All work within the city right of way as on the approved plans referenced in Exhibit A shall be coordinated and completed to the satisfaction of DPW, including but not limited to the removal of all vegetation encroaching onto the sidewalk and under the railroad trestle bridge, installation of the sidewalk, apron, curbing along Rose Hill. If the vegetation under the trestle bridge cannot be removed, the applicant's engineer shall submit revisions to the Department of Planning and Zoning and DPW showing a left turn restriction at the site driveway. Said restriction shall be to the satisfaction of the Department of Public Works. And I'm actually going to fix those little typos I have there. That should be capitalized, by the way. So that addresses Abdul's comment. If you recall, there was some discussion who could remove the vegetation. It's only a very small amount. Most of that vegetation that's obstructing the sight line is on this property, and there's a fence. So once that's removed as part of the site work, that sight line improves dramatically. So if for whatever reason they can't get the vegetation removed under the trestle bridge, then as Ben said in the public hearing, they'll make that, they'll install the signage for the left turn restriction. But again, that's only if the vegetation can't be removed.
If I could just interject, just to sort of clear up the mystery, I drove over there today and walked it and took about 7 or 8 pictures of this vegetation, which seems to be causing concern. Bottom line is it's a bunch of overgrown weeds, poison sumac and scrub brush. It's nothing. And because the city still owns the property, my personal suggestion is send a crew, 2-man crew over there for an hour and get rid of all the overgrown weeds, poison sumac, and these scraggly trees that seem to have grown up. And while you're doing it, walk over to the railroad trestle and continue pull all those weeds out. Now, technically, the city doesn't own under the bridge, but I just can't foresee a scenario whereby anybody would object to us removing this disgusting poison sumac and overgrown weeds. I can't foresee any complaint from anybody if the city crew continued their weed pulling over to there. So I just think that the city should clean the weeds and scrub off of the part of the property we own, go over a little bit farther to railroad trestle, pull those out, and the whole problem goes away. That's how I see it, Jen.
Yep. And again, if it can't happen, I've added the provision that, again, addresses that second part of Abdul's comment that said, he wanted the left turn restriction. So, the hope is that it can all be removed. And if it can't, then the commission's provided that that ability to submit a revised plan that shows that left turn restriction. And I think, as Ben had described, it's just a matter of putting up a sign, and I don't think there's any change to the actual curb cut itself. It can't because of logistics, and Ben had gone through that with the commission. So again, this is the worst case scenario, and you know, I guess we'll cross that bridge when, no pun intended. We'll cross that. I didn't even mean to do that. We'll figure that out. But I wanted to give the applicant the ability to make that submission without having to go back to the planning commission.
Okay, got it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Helen.
it's Helen. So does the railroad own that little piece that's left that's not owned by the city with the weeds on it?
It's a small piece under, excuse me. It's the, as you're heading under the bridge, there's a very small portion that is owned by the railroad.
It is owned by, that's what I wanted.
Oh, yeah, as part of the trestle bridge, yes.
So is there any, I mean, so two questions on that. Is there any way we can communicate with the railroad to say, look, you know, every once in a while, occasionally, every couple of years or something, we're going to have to come in and you know, clean this out again, and just so they know. I don't know whether that's good protocol or not, but, and then the other thing is, would we be able to put something down there like, you know, they have these, maybe it is plastic, I don't know, sheets you put down, they put some mulch over it, and then it keeps it down for like a long time. Would the city go that far? Because that's a lot cheaper than doing a right hand only and all the other jazz that is the backup plan.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may, based off of the development of those plans, once that fence comes down, you know, once the property is improved and you've got the driveway, you've got the landscaping, those weeds go away. It's just a virtue of them maintaining the property. Because again, it's going to be transferred to the Women's Center. So they will be maintaining that property, and you're not going to see, the reason you've got the weeds is because the parcel's vacant.
Right. Okay.
So I
Okay.
think,
That's a satisfactory answer for the most part. I just, you know, that little section, I mean, I don't imagine the railroad would say, no, you can't pull those weeds up. I mean, just like, that's what, you know, Arnie just said, and I would think the same, so.
Yeah, Helen, I'll just add in, you know, based on my observation, those weeds are there because of neglect. That's
Yeah,
why they're
right.
there. And for anyone to call City Hall and complain that we took care of their responsibility to not neglect their property, I just can't foresee that, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Joel, go ahead.
just a couple items. Piggybacking on Helen's comments, I would rather we not have anything in the official record that indicates that we instructed the highway department or whomever to do work on someone else's property. If it happens to accidentally occur, that would make anybody unhappy, but I don't think we want anything in record that would show that we actually, in effect, trespassed.
Fair enough.
Second item is in item 8, towards the end, about the said restriction shall be to the satisfaction of the Department of Public Works. I would suspect it might be good to say perhaps and the traffic engineer.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Jen.
With respect to the said restriction to the satisfaction of Department of Public Works, that's the big umbrella. So it's, you know, it's the Director of Public Works, it's, you know, the Superintendent of Highway, you know, it involves, you know, it's not just the traffic engineer, it's everyone involved. So I didn't want to pick just one person. It's the umbrella of the Department of Public Works. So it includes the traffic engineer and anybody else who would be part of that decision.
I will retract my comment then.
Anything else for Jen on the resolution of approval?
Yes, I have a question for, a clarification question for myself, I guess. It's item 10. And it says, let's see, item 10, does not waive any other requirements for additional approvals or permits that may be required from city, state, federal departments, agencies, including permits for on-site signage. So is this application, does it need to be reviewed by the state and federal people? I mean, how do they know to get involved?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Jen.
that's a catch-all, Helen. That's in every single approval, whether it's a departmental review, a departmental approval, or planning commission approval. It's the big umbrella that covers, we're not responsible for those other approvals. If they have to get approval from the state, whether it's DOT or
Okay, so you're saying that the applicant would have to go after those agencies to get those things?
absolutely.
Okay,
And again, it applies to other, we include, including permits for on-site signage. That's the catch-all. We don't approve the signage. They have to get a permit for that. So
Okay.
again, it's the catch-all that tells them that they're responsible for getting all those
right.
approvals in place.
I wasn't sure who would initiate that, so you answered that question. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Commission members, any further questions for Jennifer on the resolution of approval with conditions?
I need a motion.
No, I know that. I know. That was my next thing.
Okay.
Chairman,
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
I'd
Urice.
like to make a motion to accept or approve the project as per the draft resolutions dated August 31st, as we didn't amend that, do we?
If you can, I need to capitalize department and public works.
Okay, as amended.
Thank you.
I would like to second that.
Okay, motion has been made by Mr. Urice. Who's the second? Was that Mr. Sylvain?
Yes.
Okay, motion made by Joel, seconded by Perry, for approval of the resolution of approval with conditions. Any further comments? Hearing none, we will take a vote. A yes vote is to approve the resolution of approval. A no vote is to not approve the resolution of approval. Mr. Urice,
Yes.
Ms. Hofstadter,
Yes,
Mr. Kiokio,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain.
Yes.
The chair votes yes. The resolution of approval with conditions as amended is approved. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to move directly to item 2 under our old business for discussion and possible action agenda, BRT Brookview Commons LLC. Application for revised site plan approval in accordance with section 10D7C of the zoning regulations for Brookview Commons Phase 2 in the CCBD zone, 333 Main Street, I-13034, special exception number 767. Commission members, a draft revised site plan approval with conditions dated August 31st was previously distributed. And with that, I will turn it over to Jennifer.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see the resolution. Okay, can everyone see that?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what you have before you is, it's not a resolution of approval, it's a revised site plan approval with conditions. Because again, they didn't come in for a revision to the grant of special exception, they came in as a revised site plan that requires review and approval by the planning commission. So you'll see the standard whereases describing the project. I've included on page 2, the whereas includes all of the changes to the renderings, the color schemes, and building materials. Again, this was all described during the public hearing and as presented by the applicant. Page 3, there's not many conditions, there's a couple. Number 2, they have to comply with the conditions outlined in the original grant that was approved by the commission last year. Prior to the issuance of any permits. Number 3 is a standard condition. Number 4, because the grant is required to be filed on the land records. That's the chain of title. Because this is a revision, technically it's not filed on the land records. However, we wanted there to be a chain of the change to the approval. So what we're requiring is, as part of number 4, is that the applicant actually file the site plan approval, as the commission approves tonight, on the land records. That way, when there's a title search, they're going to pick up this revision as well in the change to the renderings. Number 5. So I'm going to read this, and there's a typo, but I'll get to that. The applicant's architect shall provide a list identifying the types and colors of all exterior finished materials to the Department of Planning and Zoning to verify consistency with the approved renderings noted in Exhibit A. Upon department approval of said finished materials and colors, the department shall then provide written evidence to the applicant's architect and the CEO that the requirement has been satisfied. The approved list of the materials referenced herein and the renderings noted in the exhibit I'm sorry, that's where the typo is. The approved list of materials referenced herein and renderings are noted in Exhibit A are attached here, so I'm missing the R right there. Any future exterior materials or color substitutions shall require approval by the Planning Commission as part of a revised site plan process. So this, because the commission closed the hearing, we didn't have the list of materials. They presented the rendering, what that's going to look like, but we still need the list that tells us the types and the colors. We want to see those finished materials like they did the last time. They'll come up with that list, and that's going to be the approved list that they're required to abide by. If they choose to do any substitutions, the condition requires them to go back to the Planning Commission.
So Jen, this is Arnie. I guess the point of it is to sort of create a disincentive to change things for the 3rd time, because if they want to change things again, they have to have a full-blown public hearing before the Planning Commission. So the intent here is to kind of get a list that we all agree to and live by it.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, question.
Yes, please.
Jen, I thought that part of the issue is we wanted to see the material. So don't they actually bring or show you the materials that they're going to use physically? Or
Yes.
I guess not, right? So this wording doesn't necessarily tell me that they actually have to physically show you the materials.
That's part of it. What they'll do, and I mean, again, the way this happened the last time, they actually brought the samples. They sat in my office for a couple months. It showed me the color of the brick. It showed the siding, the colors. There were boards that they were attached to, and they had, like color samples, where they actually had the actual color. And that when you go back to the original approval, you see that's listed in that exhibit. So because we don't have that at this moment, that's why it says shall provide a list identifying the types. We're still going to be looking at those, and I know Maura is anxiously waiting she wanted to submit them, and I said, no, you have to wait until we approve the application. But she's ready to submit those materials to us. So those will come into the office. Sharon and I will take a look at it, make sure that they're consistent with the color schemes and the rendering and what they presented to the commission.
So it just says that they have to give you a list of the material. It doesn't say they have to physically show you the material. So does that matter?
Can I just interject for a second? I hate to jump in, Jen. I know this is not my
No,
gig, but
go ahead.
I would just Bob, I would just suggest that you might want to add and provide samples and a list
That's
of
good.
the types and colors. Just add the word samples there, and
Yep.
that will then dispel any potential confusion that they really don't have to show us, because that's the intent is that they have to show us the samples. But I think that it would be appropriate to add the word sample in addition to the word list there, so that we get what you want, and we see it and we touch it and we feel it
Yeah,
That's all.
thanks, Sharon.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman,
sorry.
No, it's okay, thanks.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Joel?
Just to add to, not add to Bob's concern, but probably alleviate it a little bit. If they add the and provide, and samples, it says there upon department planning and zoning approval. So until the department approves, they can't move forward anyway. So they've got to make the department happy one way or the other.
True.
Yep, got it. Okay.
Is there any other questions or comments on the revised site plan approval with conditions document? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny, as is your pleasure. Commission members.
Mr. Chairman,
Joel,
make a motion to approve the draft approval resolution for the site change as amended and dated August 31st, 2020.
motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kyokyo, I believe it was. Okay, so motion has been made and seconded to approve the draft revised site plan approval with conditions as amended. We will take a roll call vote. A yes is to approve, a no is not to approve. Mr. Urice,
Yes,
Ms. Hofstadter,
Yes,
Mr. Kyokyo,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain,
Yes.
and Chairman Finaldi votes yes. The draft revised site plan approval with conditions as amended is approved. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Okay, looking at our agenda, there is one referral that we will be discussing at our September 16th meeting. Nothing under new business correspondence. Under other matters, you'll see a couple of matters for reference only, which we will be talking about in the future. Unless there is anything else to come before this commission, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Anything? Jen, Sharon, anybody? Helen?
no, I'm just gonna do the motion.
Oh, the motion to adjourn was made by Helen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, any further discussion? One last roll call vote. Mr. Urice,
yes.
Ms. Hofstadter,
Yes.
Mr. Kyokyo,
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain,
Yes.
and Chairman Finaldi votes yes. Let the record show it is 7:58. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Good work, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good
Well, a little longer than 15 minutes, so I apologize.